What is up? My boy is a little late. Was watching the movie with the wife, watching Fear Street, watching something good. What's up, everybody? Got a bunch of you guys already in here hanging out. I got my boy Reason. He's waiting backstage. I'm gonna jump him in there, and we're gonna talk about it. Gonna talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Got nothing really on the top of my head, but let's bring the man, the myth, the legend out here. Let's bring Reason out here. What's up, bud?
What's going on, bro? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Backstage, me and Reason were talking about the movie I just watched, Fear Street, and apparently you read the books.
I did, dude. I did. Now I'm gonna have to get the wife to watch them. So
They're good. They're really good. But yeah, so what we're gonna be doing, we're gonna chat it up. If you guys have any questions in the chat, send them our way. We'll try to answer them. And yeah, so Reason, how are you feeling about this team right now? Because I don't know if we really got too in depth about how we feeling about the team going into 2021. Everyone thinks that the first 5 games of this schedule are like just horribly hard for us. Do you think that?
I think they're gonna be difficult, man. My biggest issue is if we can establish the run and if we can stop the run, especially against the Patriots team. You know, as bad as Cam was last year, I believe they had the 4th best rushing attack. They averaged like 141 yards per game last year. If we can't stop the run, it's going to be a long day in Foxborough. And, you know, you got the Colts who can run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. You know, obviously the Bucks can do what they got to do on the ground.
God.
And that defense too, right? So I think it's tough, man. I think we're going to, you know, I've said consistently, if we come out of the first 2 games 2-0, AFC's been put on notice. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really worried, man. But kudos to the schedule maker because he literally copied and pasted last year's first 2 weeks. He's like, oh, let's just give him that.
Oh, well, we'll just do what they did last year. See if they can do better. Chase asks us how confident are we in the O-line, which is a good question because we had 3 rookies running it last year, and now I don't know how you feel about Skura. You know, I'm hesitant. I'm a little scared of Skura at center. What do you think? Do you think they're going to keep Jesse Davis, or do you think he's gone?
I think he's staying. I don't know if you saw what Barry Jackson reported there at the end of minicamp, but he's being told that he's leading the way at left guard right now. And I don't know if they're just trying to send a signal to Solomon McKinley to lose a little weight and get a little quicker and fleet of foot, but that's not good because him at right guard, he doesn't have the functional strength to be a guard. So
No.
Yeah, I think he's going to stick. I do.
Yeah, I think that it's Kinley's job to lose, but that's the biggest thing. He came into camp. He was big when he came into camp. Like,
he's a big boy.
Real big. Dana asks, what do you think about us skipping the Bay after going to London? I think Atlanta's coming off the bye. I'm all right with it, not having the bye after the London game. Do you like where the bye week is?
It doesn't really. It's later on in the season, right? Get healthy, I guess, if you're going to make a playoff run. Doesn't really matter to me. I'll be there for that Atlanta game, though, but I get to see Kyle Pitts up close and personal. I'm just, you know what I mean? It's whatever to me. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's indifferent. Supposedly, did you see that whole superstition thing about Super Bowl winners when they had their bye and how it's like 11, 12, 13, and then this year, whoever has week 14 bye is going to be the Super Bowl winner this year.
Oh, so we got a good chance is what you're telling me?
It's us, the Colts, I think the Patriots, and another team. I think the Eagles are the only 4 teams that have a bye week 14.
Did you see that? Was it NFL.com put out that article about the 12 teams that are realistic Super Bowl contenders, and they had the Chargers on number 12?
Really?
I was like, what? We weren't even on the list, but the Chargers? Come on.
It's that Justin Herbert love.
Yeah, I don't know about that, bro. We took away the vertical pass. Belichick took away the vertical pass. He's pretty pedestrian. So it's a whole new coaching staff. It's a turnover. You know, it's not going to be as easy as it was last year, right? So,
and it's funny too, because if Justin Herbert has like a very pedestrian or just year this year, I'm not even going to come out and say he sucks because it happens.
Yeah. You got to give quarterbacks at least 3 years to get a grip on what they're going to be. I know Sorty will have a field day with it if he comes out as pedestrian. But you got to give at least 3 years before you can even start comparing these guys, really, right?
That tweet that Sorty put out of the
classic.
Oh my god! If you guys didn't check, go check out Sorty. He's on Twitter. He put out an article, not an article, but just like an image of what overrated players for each team. And for the Chargers, for us, he put Christian Wilkins, which I'm like, he wasn't that wrong with that one. But for the Chargers, he put Justin Herbert. And
there's like 12 Pro Bowlers on that list, bro. This guy. And then Klump's running out of material, so he wrote an article about it.
If you go and just read the comments under it of just Charger fans just in their feelings on that, it's just hilarious to me.
Did you see his answer for the Bengals? Nobody, they all suck. That's what he said.
I'm gonna pull it out.
Oh my god, it's classic.
Right
yeah.
Oh my
Bengals
god.
fans were all mad. Oh, you're mad we took Burrow and da-da-da. It's like, come on, man, get over it.
Yeah, right.
You took Burrow.
I'm good.
Guy tore every alphabet letter in his knee. We're good on that one.
It's funny. First thing I see on his Twitter is McGregor. Did you watch the fight?
Yeah, I watched just that fight actually.
He didn't lose.
No, he didn't lose, but what a waste of my time that fight was.
I didn't pay for it. I just waited. I was like, let me wait and see. Here we go. Here we go. This is it. So for the Chargers, he has Justin Herbert, which it has 446 quoted tweets.
And then some of them are classic.
Like one person said, you misspelled Tua for the Dolphins. Who else does he? JJ Watt for the Cardinals, Stephon Diggs for the Bills, Alvin Kamara for the Saints.
Dude, Saints fans were coming out at him too. You know how many Kamara gifts are in the comment section?
Jamal Adams for the Seahawks. He's just a glorified outside linebacker. That's all Jamal Adams is.
Yeah. Not wrong. He wasn't changing the world in Seattle.
No. But yeah, if you guys go follow Sorty, he's hilarious.
And obviously he hit Ryan Fitzpatrick with it too, eh?
Yeah.
On Washington. Attaboy.
Devontae Smith for the Eagles, Dak Prescott for the Cal. Oh my god.
Jalen Ramsey is the best player.
I honestly think he if you guys follow him, just be prepared to be in your feelings at some points because he does very well at messing with people. Like at one point, I think he put a Patriot jersey on top of the Dolphin jersey.
And then he put a Jets one, and then he put a Bills one every week.
I told him, I was like, whoever's making your thumbnails, they should stack like Joey on Friends when he put all Chandler's clothes on.
That was classic. With no boxers.
Oh man. Yeah, he's free balling it.
Yeah. That was awesome.
What does JL Sports say? Can both of you guys give us 3 or more reasons why the Dolphins will win the AFC East this year? 3 or more reasons.
The Dolphins, the defense can stop the run. That's one.
That's one reason. Yeah.
It takes a significant leap. That's 2. The O-line looks a lot better than it did last year. That's 3.
Oh my God. There you go.
That O-line worries me, man.
It's trenches. It's if you want to win anything in the NFL, you have to stop the run and run the ball, and you'll win. I'm just nervous that we're never gonna get like the pass rush. Like we blitzed 47% of the time. That takes away guys and coverage and like.
I don't think you'll see the zero blitz very much this year though, so that'll be good.
That's
from what I've been told, you're going to see more 4-man fronts, and they're going to be playing Christian Wilkins in the big end role, just like Lawrence Guy.
Okay.
So you're going to be seeing a lot more 4-man fronts this year. So we'll see.
I miss having that front 4 where you didn't have to worry about it. Jason Taylor, Adwala Gunle on the other side, Tim Bowens. You just third and whatever. Jason Taylor.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while, Gunle. Wow.
He was good for 1 year, and then we sent him to the Bears.
Yeah, wow. I haven't heard that name in forever.
And he disappeared.
Dude, I really think Jalen Phillips can fill that Jason Taylor role, man.
Oh, my God. I have such high hopes for him, and I'm worried about that because when I have high hopes for something, Like I had high hopes for Mika Fitzpatrick. Friggin' man child. Ty asks us, do you believe we've done enough this offseason to stop the run?
On paper, yes.
Mm-hmm. It just needs to work. It needs to just mend together. Because even Raekwon Davis, if he can just get it going, him alone will help us stop the run because he's just a monster out there.
Benardic McKinney, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think Adam Butler will help too. So I think we've done enough on paper.
Do you think Benardrick McKinney's going to be a liability in the pass defense?
A little bit, yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of in and outs. You probably see Landon Robertson there maybe for the passing and then take McKinney out.
Well, they've talked about rushing him off the edge. Maybe they rush him off the edge in passing situations and take him out of that role. Throw a Vince Beagle back there or someone like that. Because he ain't putting a Landon Roberts back there either, right? So, I mean, that could be interesting to see how they fill that.
A lot of different things we could see there. Look at the image. I can't even pronounce his name. He asked us often. I asked about offensive weapons, and we said Fuller would lead the pack. Has your opinion changed, and what do you think? Reason? What do you think of the offensive weapons? Like, who do you think is going to be the main guy?
I think it's going to be. I think Will Fuller's the only shot at 1K. Don't tell me why, but I've got a bad feeling about DVP this year. We had this good discussion. I'll bring this up to you. Gesicki. I think people are overrating what he might do this year, and this is why. You look at the X, right? At the X spot, you got DVP and you got Preston that can rotate in. At the Y, it's obviously Waddle, Wilson, and Bowden. At the Z, it's Fuller, and reports coming out of minicamp are Albert Wilson's going to get a shot playing the boundary, so he'd probably be your second option at the Z. Are you going to take any of those guys off for Mike Gesicki to go in the slot or on the boundary? I really think the pressure is going to be on him to produce in line, and that's why they made the Hunter Long pick, because they know the production is going to have to come in line from tight end. So I don't see a huge year from Gesicki. Like, I know he had 85 targets last year, but who else was there? Other than DVP, who else was there to throw the ball to consistently? I mean, Jakeem Grant got 54 targets for, you know what I mean? So I just think I'm lowering my expectations for Gesicki and DVP this year. Yeah,
100%. And like you said, it's all the pieces we added are taking away from those. I honestly didn't think Devontae Parker was going to be on the team at this point. I thought he was going to get traded before the draft. Him and Gesicki. Yeah. I didn't think they'd make it. I like Gesicki because a lot of people.
Would you pay him?
What happened?
Would you pay him? Franchise tags 11 million, just over 11 million.
I think the drafting of Hunter Long kind of cements either you take what we offer you or you're gone. And I don't know if I pay him that much because Hunter Long can kind of do everything he can do. Plus, Hunter Long is essentially what I wanted the Dolphins to draft that year when they took two separate players. Like, I want to go dirt. When we were on the board and we took Gesicki, I was like, oh, get him. And then when we took Gesicki, I was like, well, he's not bad. He's good, but
you would have been right. If they drafted Dallas Goedert, they wouldn't have drafted Hunter Long probably because they would have had their guy. And he's kind of taken stuff away from Ertz, right? He's kind of made Ertz irrelevant out there.
And we would have taken Smythe, and we would have probably took. I think who's the linebacker that the Patriots took? He had the long blonde hair. He has that Polish last name. I think
Chase Winovich.
I wanted him too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I wanted.
You would have been right. Right.
There's a lot of names I was banging the table for, and Dolphins passed them up. So we'll see about that. What style? This is a good question for you because you're really good at breaking this stuff down. What play style change do we need to see in the offense?
I think you need to get away from the 50-50 isolation ball that they were having last year. It was more so, 3 concept routes on one side and then an isolation route. Your what's it called? Your check was on the other side. Your alert was on the other side. Sorry. I think you just need to go now to a quick rhythmic quick hitting pass style offense that fits what Tua is. Start dicing guys up in the short to intermediate level and then go over top of them, because you got Will Fuller. Everyone sees him as a vertical threat, but this guy is very good underneath as well, and he's a very good route runner. Same with Albert Wilson. Albert Wilson is arguably the best route runner on our team, and from what I've been told from Tua's trainer and such with working out with these guys, Albert Wilson's been one of the quickest and fastest paced learners in terms of picking up this new playbook. They told me that they were blown away by his, and he's not a perform athlete, so they don't have to juice him up for nothing. And they were blown away by how high his aptitude is and the chemistry that him and Tua are building. I think you look at Waddle, you look at Wilson, you look at Fuller. These are the type of guys that Tua made his name off of throwing to, right? And they fit more of that stylistically than what DVP, Preston, and Gesicki do. Now, you always want a 50-50 guy, but we have kind of too many of them right now still, even if we only have 3, right?
And yeah, like you said, just look at what Alabama did. A lot of what Tua's like bread and butter were those quick slants on the inside. He was always able to get the ball to him where they didn't have to stop. They caught it and kept it going. Even those like outs to the sideline, he would drop it off to them and they would be able to keep going instead of having to stop and come back and get them. So I'm hoping that's what, these two OCs. Another question for you. These two OCs, have you heard or do you know what? I know Brian Flores isn't telling us anything when it comes to who's calling what and all. How do you think it's going to work? Because it's been done before. I think the 49ers did it, and then the Vikings did it with co-DCs. How do you see it working?
Rams did it in 85 and lost to the Chicago Bears in the NFC Championship. So what I've heard is the playbook is complicated and confusing for most of our guys. And it's not styled after Alabama. So that's what I asked specifically to his people, is this like the similar to Alabama? I was told no. I was even read some of the plays. Like, we're talking like 9 words long. A sneak was 9 words long. I was like blown away by this. But yeah, apparently it's complicated and confusing. I mean, you heard DVP, right, in his media availability. He said there's a lot more motion than he's ever done, which makes sense because they wanted to bring in Matt Canada, right? Who's like, I don't know if you ever watched any of his plays. The guy's a motion. The guy had 8 motions before the ball snapped. So if you just read in between the lines, Flores said last year if Chan Gailey was out, I call them Godsville, Stoodsville, but he said Stoodsville would have been calling the plays.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. Personally, if it was me, you've created a competition in your weekly offensive meetings. Whoever looks more in tune with what you want to do, have them call the plays. Rotate until you find your guy. But we'll see how it goes.
That's going to be real interesting. We got a $5 donation from Ian Baller. He said, Doug and Reason. This is a funny one. If a group of thugs told you to meet them in an alley, pick 3 Dolphins to help you win the fight, one has to be a skill player. Well, I think we're both taking Raekwon Davis as one of those, because that man.
Christian Wilkins as the other. We just tell them to jump on them, and then they'll all be out like Preston Williams.
And one skill player.
Kirk Merritt. All day. Look at the size of that guy. Kirk Merritt's my pick.
There's our 3, and I think we'll be good. Got a super chat sticker from Chris. Thank you so much for that $1 donation, bud. Yeah, this. It's going to be interesting the way this works, and I always find it funny that when you look back to last year, Tua's best game was Chan Gailey wasn't even calling the plays. So I'm very interested to see how this is all going to work.
And he had most of his weapons that game in the Cardinals game too, right?
And it's funny. I always tell the story about when I was coming back from my daughter being born. That Sunday was the Dolphins-Chiefs game, and I'm like driving like 5 miles an hour on the highway home, and I think the Dolphins were up like 10-0. My wife was in the back seat with the baby, and I'm like, "The Dolphins are winning." She was like, "I don't give a shit." She's like, "Just get us home." I'm like, "I know, but the baby's good luck." She's like, "I don't give a shit."
I can always count on the wife to bring us back down to earth. Huh?
Yeah, she's a Packers fan, but she really does not care about football at all. Like this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. If I went to her right now, I was like, "Oh my God, did you hear Aaron Rodgers might hold out a training camp?" She's like, "I don't give a shit." I
My
don't.
brother's a huge Packers fan too.
It's funny how that works too.
Yep.
Let's see if we can get another question here. Nirvana, are you worried about not having Will Fuller for game 1? Not really. For me personally, I think everyone's still really like raw when it comes to week 1. So it's not as raw as last year. Jesus, it took like 5 weeks for us to get it going. But it's still pretty raw. And I still think the Dolphins prepared for that by adding as many wide receivers as they did.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, Will Fuller not being there week 1, I'm all right with that, because then say by some chance we do lose to the Patriots, the Bills will have this big head.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. We'll go down to Miami and beat them, and then Will Fuller comes back and we just torch him.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be on a guy like that to win the game. It's gonna be about whether we can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Have you looked at their depth chart of the New England Patriots?
It's
like
ridiculous.
This is not a cakewalk, their defense with all the guys back, right? So
Bill Belichick did not like not being able to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, not at all. And Myles Gaskin's gonna earn his dollars in that game.
How many tight ends do they have? Like 90? It's just
almost as many as us.
We have tight ends and corners. That's what the Dolphins just stacked on for some odd reason. Reason best to Dolphins games in Toronto. Reason best spot to watch Dolphins games in Toronto. Cody asked you.
My house. I don't go out and for games because I'm a lunatic, so not gonna happen.
Are you one of those people who watch the game and just like scream like crazy?
Oh, break controllers. Penguins and Dolphins caused me to break controllers for sure.
I used to be like that until I moved in with my now wife, because she would be like, relax. I used to hate when my mother would say that to me. It's just a game. What are you getting so upset about? It's not just a game.
Yeah. No.
Or she'd be like, they can't hear you on the TV.
Dude, you should see my 3-year-old daughter. She looks at me like, I'm scared. And I'm like, well, honey,
it's only gonna get worse.
Am I. Yeah.
Oh man. Chris with a $5 donation. I hear people say Coach Flores has the attention of the locker room. That's because he can put the pads on and knock the players on their butts. Go Flo. He's got some attention, but
there's some players I'd like to see him line up against that I don't think he's putting on their butts.
His boyfriend Raekwon Davis.
Oh yeah, Raekwon gonna blow him up.
Oh man, which Dolphin player would you date?
Tua Tagovailoa. And I'll pay.
Patch vibes. This is Richie from Patch vibes.
And I'll pay.
I don't know. Gazicki looks good without that helmet on.
Go to Patch Vibes, everyone.
There you go.
The Tua.
We have so many. You can use either one of our promo codes.
There you go.
Oh, this is a long one. I've blamed a lot of the Tua skeptics on the abuse that we as fans have faced over the century of lackluster seasoning quarterbacks. Do you agree? We are afraid to trust again. Yeah. I think we want a lot of it has to do with the instant satisfaction, and it has a lot to do with seeing Justin Herbert throw for 4,000 yards. If that never happened, say Burrow, blew his knee out and Justin Herbert did all right. Like he threw for 3,000 yards and whatever. I don't think this discussion would be happening. I think
I agreed.
Just let Tua do it, because Tua didn't. People call him a bust. He sucks. He didn't do this. Tua didn't have a bad rookie year.
Nope. You know what I say, Doug? Name me a quarterback, an AFC East quarterback in the last decade that had a better rookie season than him, and you can't. Mm-hmm. And let's ask ourselves this: under Chan Gailey's system, do you think Justin Herbert would have flourished the way he did? No.
That's the other thing. And I say it, and then I get told that you're just making excuses. But it would be a different if Justin Herbert got drafted by the Dolphins. I don't know if he would have been put in there because Fitzpatrick was doing well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wouldn't have.
The only reason he saw the field is because the doctor didn't know where to give Tyrod.
And if they were in the playoff race when Tyrod was back, he would have got pulled in that New England game.
Oh yeah, and I say that every time.
And he probably would have got pulled against us too.
Yeah. He cost the game against the Dolphins. He threw that interception right to X, and he cost them that game. He did
and all of his yards
against...
came in the garbage time. He had like 160 yards, 120 something yards with like 10 minutes left. It all came in garbage kind of time against us.
Or that one drive where they ran the ball every time because we confused him. No one wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
Julian with the $2 donation says, prediction for a record.
I'll save my prediction till after training camp because things could change, but I'll tell you what my expectation is: 12 wins.
Mm-hmm.
My prediction might not meet that, but 12 wins, and they've set that expectation up, not me.
See, Omar Daly says, can we just accept his rookie year was bad? It wasn't bad.
It wasn't great.
It was exactly. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was a rookie year. It was all right. He had some bad games. He had really good games. It was just very up and down. So no, I wouldn't agree that it's bad. It's like when people said that before we traded Tannehill, oh, Tannehill sucks. Tannehill's horrible. He's not.
No.
He's not what we needed to get where we wanted to go, but he wasn't bad.
He just never had a coach that really believed in him, and then Gase believed in him a little too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. Did you hear that Philbin wanted to draft Derek Carr?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not. And that's probably why he was so hard on Tannehill.
Just like who's that coach? I think he was at Wisconsin, and then he went to Arkansas. But we interviewed him in 20. The Russell Wilson draft was 2012, right?
Yes, Russell. Yeah, it was the whole Tannehill. Wilson, yeah.
What was his name? I'll find out his name when we get going here. But we interviewed him, and he told us, "I can win you a Super Bowl." In the interview, I can win you a Super Bowl in 5 years. All I need to do is draft Russell Wilson in the second round. And management told him Russell's too small. Russell doesn't have a big enough arm. And then that same day, he backed out of the running. And then I think we went with Philbin. And yeah, I'm going to look at his name up right now. I'll tell you.
Philbin. I can't with that name. Somebody asked a good question. Your opinion on the coach's discussion with Tua, what they should be talking about and what they are talking about currently. He needs, for me, the biggest thing I noticed with Tua is he needs to trust himself a little bit more. Maybe that's just me, but he needs to trust himself a little bit more, because I think I heard this on one of your live streams that some of his dropbacks, he did like a little hiccup step. He did like, just get it out. Like he would do a 3-step drop and then do like a little hop and then throw the ball. It was just a little slow. Like you just got to trust yourself and just, you can put the ball wherever you need to do it to it. Like you have the accuracy to do whatever you need to. Just do it.
There was a throw in the Chiefs game where it's a seam throw, but it's a timing throw. And because he does that little hop step at the top of his drop, he then throws the ball to Gesicki. Mm-hmm. And if he wouldn't have done that little hop step, he would have hit Gesicki, and Gesicki would have caught it in open space. But the timing was off. And when he hit Gesicki made the catch, but the safety was there and popped him. And it was all because of that extra hop step he was taking at the top of his drop, which he never did at Alabama. And by the way, the name was Brett Bielema of the coach.
Okay, yes, I do remember that. I think people were even saying that. Yeah, Matt said it.
Yeah.
Brett Bielema.
Yeah.
Alton with the $5 donation said, hey, Doug, if you could catch a 50-yard bomb from 3 of the top 10 Dolphin quarterbacks, who would they be? I heard Dan Marino used to throw the ball so hard he would break his wide receiver's fingers. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's amazing.
I'd like to ask him, but I don't know if I'd ever get the chance to talk to him. But obviously, Marino, Chad Pennington. A lot of people underestimate Chad Pennington.
He can't throw the ball 50 yards. That's the problem.
I was going to say, it's probably like a nice little feathery catch at the 50-yard line. But definitely Dan Marino. But I'm afraid that he's going to hurt me, to be honest with you. I'm going to catch that thing. He's going to knock the wind out of me. I'm going to go Dan Marino, Tannehill, and Tua. And he'll be able to put up Greasy.
There you go. Yeah, but he didn't throw that much, right?
Not back then.
Yeah.
You use Zonka. You use the use those boys. But yeah, I heard that story. I don't know where I heard it. We're gonna have to ask Richmond and see if it's true or not. But
That's
I heard
awesome.
he would they would try to sometimes body catch it because he would break their fingers because he had that zip on it. Someone said freaking Gus
Farad. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Do you Gus Farad? What game was it? I think it was I think Trent Green was our quarterback for that Bills comeback game where he got injured and then
I was gonna say
Rosenfeld
the one
came in.
game he stayed healthy for, or what?
Oh my god. Craig with the $5 donation. We need more collaborations with you guys. Really excited for the start of the season. I have high hopes. What's both your fave non-Marino Dolphin and why? For me, it's Jason Taylor. I played the position, I had the body type, and he was just a beast. Like, you knew if we needed a sack, he was just gonna get back there and get the sack. So for me, it was Jason Taylor.
Mine was Ricky.
Oh, he's a close second. He's a very close second.
You know how hard it hurt my heart knowing how, even if they would have overlapped for 2 years, we would have won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And Marino just missed out on having that. That's why when you hear the rumors about we were going to land Barry Sanders, but the Lions wouldn't pull the trigger. Imagine if he would have stuck around. Marino would have been the first guy playing into his 40s if that would have happened.
Some people commented on that Mythbuster video I made and said that they were both at the ass end of their career, so it wouldn't have done anything.
Barry was 30 when that was rumor.
Oh my god, it would have been absolutely amazing. I was going to ask you a question. I forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh, training camp. Are you going down to training camp?
No, because I have to watch my 7-month-old. My wife, she has her she has her final exam in September to get her accounting degree. Okay. So July and August, I'm watching my daughter from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. every day.
Me and you are in the same exact boat because we were planning on going down to training camp. I was actually going to be able to meet you finally, but no, I have to watch. My wife went back to work. She works 7 to 7 in the hospital, so me and you both have our own baby duty.
Next year, buddy.
Games.
Next year.
Are you coming to the what game? Are you going to multiple games, or are you just going to the one?
The only one I have planned right now is the Atlanta game. I was thinking about MetLife takeover.
I get to give you a big old bear hug if you come to MetLife.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the MetLife takeover if I can make it work for sure.
It should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. And it won't be that cold. When is it? November? Yeah, it's not that cold here in November. Chris with another $5 donation. Chris, you giving me all your money, man. People forget Tua can run. He is an option quarterback now that he is healthy. He will run for more than 600 rushing yards for the season, I think. He showed, it's so funny too, not fully healthy. And in that Cardinals game, he broke Budda Baker. Like, he showed.
No wiggle.
It was like a whoop.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
Budda's still looking for his ankles right now.
But he showed, even like in the Patriots game where he, it was a 4 or 5 yard touchdown run, but he still showed that he has the movement. So yeah, people underestimate. They say he's immobile, no arm strength, can't read the defense. I'm trying to remember all these things that I've read in the comment section of what Tua can't do. And I'm like, are you watching the same stuff that I'm watching? Because
but I don't know about 600 yards
that's a lot.
He's only ran for, I think the most he ran for in a season at Bama was 190. So I see him more of a 200 to 300 yard guy if he gets out there. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you think we will have a top 20 O-line? Thank you for the donation. And I'm hoping top 15 if we want to do anything.
See, here's my predicament with this offensive line. Now, as you know, I was one of the people banging since we drafted him that Hunt's a guard, not a tackle. So they made me happy that they put him in the guard. My whole thing here is I can't remember the last team that was in the position we're in terms of we're hoping 3 players in going into the second year take significant and keyword equal jumps in their game. Skura finds his 2018 form. And Liam Eichenberg, who's a technician, very technically sound, but he's got short arm. He's not the best athlete in the world. That he can limit the rookie learning curve and the amount of rookie mistakes. That's a lot to ask for an offensive line, because look at it this way. Everyone wants Tua to take the significant second year jump. Well, we need 3 guys on the offensive line to do it, and odds are not all 3 will. That's just the odds, right? Like if all 3 hit and Tua hit, oh my God, we all should go play the lottery. You know what I mean? But the odds are one of those guys isn't going to take the step forward necessary, and that's what worries me about this line.
Yeah, I agree, because they did well for rookies, but to take all of them to take that, I think that's why you're probably hearing Jesse Davis is a potential starter, because they want that veteran out there, Matt Skura, even, what's his face? Picked him up from the Ravens.
What, Fluker?
Yeah, they probably hoping that he does something maybe at guard.
And they got that Jermaine Illuminor, right? The guard from the Patriots too. So we've got depth if guys aren't working out.
Yeah, we'll see.
The problem is the way the schedule is, you got to get it going off the bat.
Yeah, because we can't go into a 1-4 hole, because then you're really digging yourself out. Big John with the $5 donation. Pennington threw a 50-yard bomb. Grant would drop that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Richard with the $5 donation. If X gets traded, will Noah play the boundary or stay at slot corner? If he stays, who replaces X on the boundary? That's a good question.
He plays the boundary.
Yeah. He did bad because he was a rookie covering one of the best receivers in the league at the time.
And Tyler Lockett gave him the work a little too. People forget that. But look at X. X took like 3 years to get rolling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Noah was a really raw prospect, right? He only played the position for under 2 years when we drafted him. But he's just a really, really good athlete. Now, all the hype out of minicamp was how good he's playing. I don't know if that's the PR twist to prep us for X's leaving, but I mean, we'll see how it rolls. Yeah. It's one of the hardest positions to master in the NFL.
Yeah, it really is. Let's see what Max says. Mac with a $10 donation says, Chan didn't have confidence in Tua and ran plays where he was put in a situation he had to check down. Whether he was familiar with the player or not, when they went to the huddle, different story.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you remember, but you remember when Chan got asked after that, was it the Chiefs game, where he was asked, hey, did you know Tua could run the no huddle this well? And he flat out said, no, I didn't. And then after that fact, the next week, Chan Gailey was out there telling, the media, oh, I don't like that no huddle nonsense. It's like, okay, so now you're saying you're not going to play to your quarterback's strengths?
And I talked about that in one of my videos or live streams, that I noticed that whenever, for the longest time, if there was like a minute and a half before the half, you always thought the Dolphins were going to try something, and then if they didn't do it, they were just going to take a knee and go into. But for us last year, we always got at least 3 points before the half. It's because of, okay, now let's have Tua do that, up tempo, no huddle, and all of a sudden he would get the ball down to the opposite 35-yard line, and Jason Sanders would kick a field goal in. And now a lot of times that's what kept us in those games that we eventually won, is because we got those 3 points before the half because they let Tua do his thing.
And do you remember after the Chargers game when Tua was interviewed with media availability, he said, he basically said him and a bunch of the offensive players weren't on the same page as Chan Gailey, and they were asking questions as to why they were running these type of plays when they thought they should be running these type of plays. Go back and watch his media availability after the Chargers. I believe it's the Chargers game. And we played on my channel. Rhino brought it up and stuff. And, just to throw some stats at you, out of no huddle, he was 37-53, 69.8%, 409 yards, a touchdown and no interceptions. And you would constantly see Brian Flores on the sideline telling Chan, tempo, tempo, tempo. I heard this is what I heard privately, one of the big things between Chan Gailey and Flores was Flores didn't like the tempo Chan Gailey was calling plays at. He wanted a more up-tempo offense, and I even heard that's why he went to Fitzpatrick those few times when they benched him, not performance-based, but because he knew Chan Gailey would call a more up-tempo offense with Ryan Fitzpatrick because he trusted him with the playbook as opposed to Tua Tagovailoa.
Wow. Let's see what I think Scott Jackson. Tua caused Gailey to leave because he didn't want to struggle coaching Tua and going 3 and out 20 times a game. Tua did not the plays, and that isn't the OC's fault. I guess did not know the plays.
That's not true at all.
And I hate that Tua gets blamed for the 3 and outs.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Tua is being polite. Listen, I've been told by people close to Tua Tagovailoa, that see him 5 times a week during right now everything going on when they're not in training camp, that he was being polite and he didn't want to throw Chan Gailey under the bus. That's exactly what I was told. That's not true at all. Listen, I was told by someone really, really close to him. Listen to what he said. He said really, really didn't know, like he really, really. He stressed the really. That's because he knew the playbook, but he just said really, really well. And he was trying to get a point across to everyone that, yeah, I knew the playbook. I just didn't know it like the back of my hand. I didn't know it front to back. That's all he's saying, but he knew it well. And he knew it well enough where he thought he should have had checks and alerts, and he wasn't given that opportunity. Even when he clarified himself, he said, I wasn't given the opportunity with checks and alerts. He even said that when he clarified. So, yeah, no, Chan Gailey was archaic. I was calling for Chan Gailey's head when Fitzpatrick was in there. I posed the question when we hired Chan Gailey. He's never taken a team as an offensive coordinator to the playoffs. He's never developed a rookie quarterback. You can't name one. They picked the wrong guy. End of story. And Flores learned, and see you later.
Yeah, 100%. And the biggest thing with me is you notice if we don't have a run game, you're not going to be moving the ball. And you've talked about that a ton through this stream. You need a run game to move the ball. So there'll be times where we'll hand the ball off, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, Tua, congratulations. You're now 2nd and 13. Try to get us the first down.
Yeah.
And
or Doug,
like, well,
you do the live reactions to the game. You're watching the game. Gaskin or Ahmed are having a great first half. Third quarter starts, and Jordan Howard's out there. And you're like, what are you doing right now? Do you remember that one game? I forget who it was, where they ran the ball with Jordan Howard. He got blown up. And then they said, let's throw a screen to throw them off. And he got blown up in the backfield on a screen because they're trying to keep people honest because they knew what was happening when Jordan Howard was out there. Bad coaching and personnel decisions, man.
Yeah, and I talked about it constantly that you saw that there was somewhat of a struggle. Look at the Seattle Seahawks game. Tua wasn't the quarterback. We could have scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Could not score and the Seahawks defense was horrid at that point.
Yeah.
They had so many injuries, and we couldn't score a touchdown at all.
Oh, I lost my mind on stream because I remember it was like 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 5 or something. It was like a 3rd and relatively short. And they passing play, and everything was developing down the field. Nothing was short that Fitz could hit to the sticks and just get the first. Everything was well beyond the sticks, and he almost threw a pick, but it got batted down, and we were on the other side of the 50, and I'm like, what kind of play call is this? Like, look at we get into the red zone against the Bills, we're calling bubble screens, man. Like, the guy's just archaic. Again, I don't know if you've heard it, but the 3 yards per carry guys, they basically put it out there that from what they were told, he threw out, when he retired, he threw out all of his notes on all the coordinators, all the defensive coordinators in football, and he was apparently scrambling, calling in people he knew to see if he could get their notes on some of these defensive coordinators that they were facing, because he was that lost at a certain point. Because he was going to retire, man.
And Florida Born with the $2 Nation makes a great point too. We've all seen the tweet that Tom Brady came out and said the same thing. It's like speaking Spanish. I was stuck on one language for so long, and now all of a sudden I go to Tampa Bay. He said by like November, December, he still didn't know certain things. I just find it funny that people get on him.
But everyone gives him a pass. And how many interceptions did he throw in that NFC Championship? 3?
Not have gone to the Super Bowl.
And the rest of the team bailed him out.
They should not have gone to the Packers. That one corner cost the Packers the Super Bowl game. That one, I don't know if they would have beat the Chiefs though, but that one Packers.
I see the W. Scott Jackson, the DW4. brother, it ain't happening. I've been told privately Stephen Ross will not sign off on a Deshaun Watson deal after the allegations. And I was told it was because of the PR hit he took over the Trump stuff. He doesn't want to play that game anymore. So I don't expect Deshaun Watson to be Miami Dolphin.
Chris Daughtry, other than Tua breakout season this year, who else do you think will have a breakout season? Preston Williams, maybe? He needs one. In all honesty, do you think he's on the team next year if he gets injured again? I've gotten that question a lot.
No. And I think Albert Wilson's going to surprise a lot of people. I know you saw on Twitter me and Clump getting into it. I think Albert Wilson's going to surprise a ton of people, man. You know, I've said this example, you know, if we're going through, if I got a 4 read, you know, if we're going 10-man personnel, I got 4 reads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and DVP's that first read. And I just see he's gained leverage, but there's not much separation. I go to that second read, and it's Waddle, Wilson, whoever. They're going to be separated. I'm going to make that throw. Mm-hmm. You know, if I go to that third read, and it's the other one of whether Waddle, Wilson, they'll be separated. I'll make that throw. Or 4, Will Fuller. You know, I'll make that throw. So, I think Wilson's going to have a bigger year than people are giving him credit for. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think Raekwon's going to have a huge year again.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Before I think we even went into the draft, a lot of people were asking me like, oh, Albert Wilson's going to get cut, you know, save the cap space, yada, yada, even though he took a giant pay cut to stay with the Dolphins. Yeah. I kept saying he's the perfect wide receiver to team up with Tua. Yeah. He does everything Tua loves to throw to. And now that he's fully healthy and we're seeing him in camp and hearing the same thing, it just solidifies that. I'm telling you, it's going to be Waddle and it's going to be Wilson are going to be Tua's best friends, and he's just going to keep hitting them, and it's going to be a thing of beauty. This is a good question from Max. Surprise training camp cut.
Durham Smythe.
Really? I was saying that's the reason why Hunter Long got drafted, was to replace Durham Smythe. So they have that Gesicki, Shaheen, Long, you know, tight end group where all of a sudden you don't know what they're doing when they're the three of they could be in a big wing formation, and you're like, we could still run it behind the 2 tight ends, even though they'll probably put Gesicki on the very outside. Yeah, I could see Durham Smythe.
What if they want to keep it 4, but they really like Ethan Carter because he was the first guy they signed?
I completely forgot about Ethan Carter. They gave him like a 3-year deal, didn't they?
I don't remember what deal they gave him, to be honest with you.
Let me look this up. Go to Spot Track. I think it was either one of them. One of the the big little signings that we did was like a 3-year. It might have been the defensive tackle we picked up.
I'm surprised we didn't sign Tim Tebow at the rate we were signing tight ends though. Why not?
I get in trouble too much to talk about Tim Tebow. If Clump was here, he'd get so mad.
I was gonna say, Clump message you. You get really mad text messages from Clump whenever Tebow comes up.
I just don't think he's a good quarterback. That's all it is. And I get a lot of hate for that.
He was good in college. But
he was great in college.
Yeah. I'm a Gators fan, and I'm realistic. I'm not Clump level Gators fan, but, you know.
Let me see if I can find him. I don't know why I can't find him. What position is he? He's a tight end, right?
Yeah, tight end, yeah. And he can play fullback, too.
3 years, $7.8 million.
There you go.
That's another big replacement right there.
Yeah.
That's another. A lot of people like this connection, me and you, Reason. They wanted a weekly thing. Hey, I just get along with people. That's what it is. Reason's a good guy to talk to.
And I get along with like 70% of people, so we're good.
You just don't rub Reason the wrong way. The best, and I don't know if you saw it. You were on Larry's live stream, and I was in there, and I just said, "Hey, what's up?" And I think they were talking about you, and you just popped up, and I was cracking up laughing, and I commented, "Reasons like Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times, you're gonna show up."
And didn't I come up? I was like, "Larry, why you gotta say my name, Larry? Why you gotta say my name?"
Oh, so funny.
I just try to watch in the background. I don't get involved in the comments.
Yeah, I do. I do the same thing with yours with TDs, and I put it on, and I'm like in here. I'm either editing or I'm trying to clean up the mess that's behind me, and I just listen. It's just nice to
Yeah.
like hear it in the background,
Yeah.
especially yours. For real, if you guys don't go over Inside the NFL, first off, he has the greatest intro to a live stream I've ever seen. I don't know how you do it. I don't want to rip off you, but it's so good. Mine, I just pop up. I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm here. Yours, it's like this, like when I'm a guest, I'm in the back. I'm like, yo, let's go put some pads on
And run through the wall.
Let's play some football. But yeah, for real, if you guys haven't yet, go check out Inside the NFL. He gives you some good tidbits. He's dropping a little here and there, but he's saving the big ones. You gotta go over, hit subscribe on that channel. Michael with the $5 donation. With all the potential speed of the receivers, Grant, Wilson, Perry, and Tua's expected improvement, do you see any wildcat formations this year? It depends if they want, like, because they could also have Tua go out. Now, do they want him to get hurt? Because they could have him go out and have like Bowden throw to him.
Yeah.
But
I don't think Grant and Perry make the team.
I'm gonna agree with you on that one.
I think Perry goes down to the practice squad. I think Grant gets cut.
Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why we didn't talk about that being a surprise is because it's like,
you've had this long. Is it really a surprise?
Really
you know what I mean?
Because if we're gonna get on, and Dub Tech, thank you so much for joining, being a member. If we're gonna get on, you know, Devontae Parker for not staying healthy, and if we're gonna get on all these guys, oh, they're always injured. Jakeem Grant has never played a full season for us.
Mm-hmm.
He's small. He's dynamic, but he's small. So
again, I've been told by people that work out with both of those guys that the belief in the camp, not even the belief from these people, the belief in Grant's camp is he's not going to make it.
Really?
Yeah. And I was legitimately, and I haven't said this anywhere else, so here you go. I was told by people who worked out with Perry that they don't think he'll make it because he doesn't have it. So take that for what it's worth.
And it sucks too, because both of them are essentially getting buried behind very good wide receivers in front of them. Like, it's one of those things, like, once camp comes, you need to shine on special teams if you want to make this team. Because if you're a corner, if you're a wide receiver, and potentially a tight end, you need to shine in special teams to make this team. Who's doing Hard Knocks this year? Is it the Cowboys?
Yeah. And look at, did you see? I know you saw it, that tweet that his agent put out when he found out that Waddle and Igbenogany, and Holland are going to be given chances.
Deleted it right away.
Oh man,
it's not that he just can't catch the ball. That hurts too. And it's,
I know he had to adjust, but that first interception Tua ever threw was kind of on Jakeem Grant.
Yeah, he like
hit you right in the chest, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I don't know.
And it's funny too, because we knock him for his size, but if it was like Devontae Parker or something, they wouldn't have had to jump as high as he did and then like smack the ball like he did.
Yeah. And even as a returner, Doug, you remember the guy forgets to wave fair catches and gets lit up at times. Like, you can't have that, man. No. You're either going to get hurt or you're going to turn the ball over.
And he's dropped a few. He's dropped them and then picked him back up. And you're like,
doesn't your heart stop when the ball's in the air and you see Grant? That's why I didn't understand how he made second team all pro. I'm like, be a Dolphin fan and watch this guy. My heart literally stops every time I see that ball in the air and him standing under that. I don't know whether he's going to forget to wave it up and get lit up, or I don't know what's going to happen.
I will say, him forgetting to wave it off and getting lit up made some good TV in that Bengals game.
Twice in one game, though. Holy.
When Brian Flores was going across, and he was like,
yeah.
And that one Bengal was touching him. He was like, get off me.
Yeah.
I don't want to cross Brian Flores. I don't care.
I don't hate the kid either. People think I hate
him. Yeah. And you talked about this perfectly. I think it was you or it was Clump, but I think it was you. It's the brand. Like, we love players, right? Like, I'm a huge Xavier Howard fan. People call me a Tua stan because I will defend him against bad takes. I'm a huge Xavier Howard fan, but I'm even saying, if he doesn't agree on either some contract restructuring or just play this year out, then you got to trade him. And for me to say that, it hurts because he's good. Him matched up with Byron Jones is one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
It's the best we've had since Surtain and Madison, and arguably better, right?
So like it hurts, but
I want him to retire a Dolphin, man.
Right?
Just like I wanted Rashad to retire a Dolphin.
As much as we want to, as much as people want us to praise these players, you also got to be like, for me, people like to think that I never knock Tua. No, I knocked Tua. I did a whole film study where I'm like, he should have got rid of the ball here. He should have got rid of the ball. He's waiting too long. He's doing. But you know, you got to be able to criticize your players because you said it perfectly. It's not about one player. It's not about your favorite player. We want the Miami Dolphins to win a Super Bowl. We don't want Tua Tagovailoa to win a Super Bowl. You know, Xavier Howard, Mike Gesicki. Because I even talked about Mike Gesicki could get traded at the draft, and people were like, "Why do you hate Gesicki?" I don't. It just
like pardon us for taking an objective look at things, huh? Like,
don't ask me the question then. Plain and simple.
See, but people don't realize this. Yes, we have YouTube channels, but we actually have stepped out of. Yes, we're fans on Sundays, but we've actually have to step out of that role as a fan because people come to us to hear our thoughts and our analysis of the team. So in that sense, you know, we're technically part of we're part of the media now. So we have to, you know, people want everything sugar coated to them and handed on a silver platter, but everything is in lollipops, rainbows, and sunshine. And that's just how it is, you know, like put the team over the player, right? Unless they're transcendent. Yeah. Then okay, I get it. But you know, you got to put the team first, the logo first over everything.
Yeah. And like you said, like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, you know, these are guys that, all right, they're the face of your franchise.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins right now don't have a face of this franchise. We want it to be Tua. We want Tua to take that next step. But a lot of people want to ask me questions, you know, and the one that drives me nuts right now is right now, Doug, would you go back in time and draft Justin Herbert or draft Tua? I don't know. And they hate that I say I don't know. Justin Herbert can end up being like RG3, who won Rookie of the Year, took his team to the playoffs, destroyed his knee, disappeared.
Yeah.
Like it very easily could. So you asked me in 3 years or 2 more years, ask me who you taking, Tua or Herbert. And if Herbert keeps going on the track he is and Tua has a huge slump down, I'll say Herbert all day, every day. I'm not dumb. But to ask me right now after 9 games and what Herbert had like 12 or something, it's just not fair. Plus
also hindsight is 2020, right? You know, think of this. Outside of YouTube, how many major network analysts were absolutely destroying Justin Herbert before the draft? You know what I mean? If you want to hold like us to that standard, hold the analysts out there who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and we're telling y'all this kid was going to be a bust. Because here's the thing. If you actually studied their tape, if you actually watched Oregon, you know, over 33% of his passes came behind the line of scrimmage. It wasn't a vertical offense. It was very horizontal. His tape was not very good. You know, if you go back to my evaluation I did on him last year with my big board, I said, listen, he had this problem with his front arm, right? He would do a swimming motion, right? When you want to keep that front arm nice and tight, right? Because that helps with your accuracy. He would do this swimming motion, and and his accuracy would be off all the time. He'd get caught flat-footed out of the shotgun. I don't know if you remember, but he used to do this thing when he snapped the ball too. He'd flip the ball. I don't know if you remember that. He used to flip the ball to himself, and I'd be like, what is this kid doing, right? And if you watched his film, there was red flag after red flag after red flag. Now, if you wanted to like his athleticism and his size and his arm strength, no one was arguing it. Like I even said in my evaluation, there are times where his mechanics are perfectly aligned and flawless. And I said he makes throws that are quote unquote a sight to behold. I said that. But when you compare the film, the Alabama film to the Oregon film, there was no comparison. Just like the LSU film, there was no comparison to the Oregon film. It just wasn't there. It was a really big projection you were going to have to take. Like the Chargers, you know, the GM came out and said they were going to take Tua. If Tua didn't get injured, he could very well be a Cincinnati Bengal because he might have won the Heisman that year.
Oh, yeah.
So, people need to actually sit back and realize that scouts would have been fired, right? Evaluators would have been fired. Analysts that all you respect would have been fired. People miss. It happens. Scouting and evaluations are projections. It happens. But people have to go off the film that they had. And the film that Herbert had didn't blow you away consistently like Burrow's last year and Tua's years at Alabama. He had his moments 110%, but they weren't consistent enough. And he looked like a prospect that wasn't we talk about this leap, right? It looked like he wasn't taking a leap every year. You know what I mean? So people just got to step back and realize it's easy to say I would have done this with hindsight. A lot harder to say that when all you got is the tape and you don't have snaps in the NFL yet.
Yeah. I was about to just take myself out of here. Every spot on that 100%. You go off of what you see in college. And there are players who are okay in college, and for some reason, the NFL just clicks for them. And they come in, and whether it be the offense is predicated for them, whether it's the receivers have, the connection with them, whether it's whatever, they play better. Whether they have a horrible defense, so they have to throw the ball, over 500 and something times. It is what it is.
Yeah. So, he had never taken one single snap under center at Oregon. Now, I knew he wasn't going to have a playbook problem because I think he has a degree in biology or something. He's a smart guy. I knew that wasn't going to be a problem, but it was a matter of you looked at his mechanics at times, you're like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? So, and now, hey, you know what? Tua's got continuity, familiarity with the guys around him. Herbert's got a new offensive coordinator. Now he's got a defensive-minded coach, not an offensive-minded coach. So we'll see how he responds.
It's going to be interesting because if there's a flip, you're going to start hearing Chargers fans saying, well, it's a new offense.
Yeah, exactly. Just like if Burrow doesn't play well this year, he'll get the injury excuse that no one gave Tua.
And I made this point a ton, either on the channel or on Twitter. If Tua comes out and he absolutely balls, right? Throws for 4,000 yards, throws for 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, whatever you consider balling out. People will say, well, that's because he had the weapons around him. And, the offensive, and he had what he had in Alabama. And then if he sucks, though, the other side will say, and then they'll come up with things. Well, so-and-so got injured. And then there's me and you and everyone else that has we're in the middle. And it's just it is what it is. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know
what I tell those people? This is what I say. Listen, this is how his weapons, can we agree, because of the injuries, were very similar level-wise to what Tom Brady had in his last year, right? Let's say Edelman's the Parker, whatever, right? And what did Brady do? Brady took his bags, packed them, and walked out of New England. Tua didn't have that option. So, and I mean, you saw how bad Cam was last year with similar type of weapons. What'd they do? They went out and bought a whole bunch of weapons and spent the most money I can remember them spending in an offseason in the Belichick era. So, I mean, this is but the difference was one guy had been in the league for 20 years. The other one had been in the league as a rookie. And again, like Nick Hicks said, the guy was at 60% health. He couldn't stand on one leg for a long period of time. That's how bad that hip was.
I don't know. Raging Dolphin Mechanic says after 3 games, the sports media was proclaiming Tua the best quarterback rookie until he was considered a bust. After that Rams game, he threw for 90 yards. It was the Cardinals game he had his best game. Other than that, his first 3 games, I don't think they were proclaiming him the best. I think he won Rookie of the Year 2 weeks in a row, but that's just because Dolphin fans are out of their mind and they just spam the the voting. But I may be wrong, but I don't remember the media proclaiming him the best quarterback rookie.
No, because Herbert had already got off to the hot start.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I could
but what's
wrong.
Crazy is Joe Burrow, right? Everyone, all the media, Joe Burrow's showing us this. First of all, they had similar stats. Second of all, Joe Burrow threw the ball 104 more times than Tua Tagovailoa. They literally have almost identical stats when you line them up. side by side.
Mhm.
But apparently Joe Burrow's shown that he can do it, and Tua hasn't. I don't get it, man. Like, is this because a lot of these major media outlets are based in New York and they're all Jets fans? Like what's going on here? You know what I mean?
And that's why we started our channels. We were sick and tired of hearing that. I remember that's one of the main reasons I started my channels, because I was tired of watching the Dolphins win and having to hear why the other team lost.
Yeah.
And it's like, give us some credit. But yeah, and it's funny too, because a lot of people are talking about, Tua's the third best quarterback out of that draft class and yada yada. Joe Burrow not ever be the same with that giant scar on that knee. It's not easy to come back. Nowadays it's different because of the technology and the medical field and all that stuff, but they didn't draft an tool.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like Tua. You know what? Nick Hicks came up there and he said, people got to understand there's a difference between being 100% and being cleared for football activity. Yeah. And there was an article on Joe Burrow about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was talking about how he's cleared, but he's not 100%. I read in the article that said at best he's 85%. And you know him, his whole half of his game predicates on that sneaky athleticism he has. Mm-hmm. That might be gone. And it's going to be up here too.
Oh yeah. He's got to take that first hit.
Yeah.
And look at prime example of being football cleared and being medically cleared. Look at Ryan Tannehill. In 2018, he was medically cleared or football cleared to play. He was trying to stop from running out of bounds and he blew out his knee again. No one hit him. Like you said, big difference. Like Tua was cleared to play football, but you could see that he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, he wasn't the same Tua.
Taking that first sack from Aaron Donald too. It's like,
yeah. At least he popped back up.
And then like a few plays later, he like tried to scramble and he took another big hit and he got right back up. Like he's a tough kid.
Yeah.
I watched
no one could ever deny the heart of that guy.
No. And if you do, go watch that documentary, that Tua documentary. I finally got to watch it.
Oh, the Fox one from last year?
Yeah. I was like, I like this kid.
Yeah.
He got a rough he got a rough, like the one part where I think he was going to get his last physical to be cleared and a tornado hit and his car was the only one who got destroyed. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. But we have to do this again because this was a blast.
Sure,
We're hanging out. Like I said, guys, if you haven't yet, Finside the NFL, he does some great film breakdown. Give him a little backstory. For people who don't know who you are, give him a little backstory on, what you did, like, because you played football. Like, give him a little backstory on who you are.
So I played high school ball and I played college ball up in here in Canada. I left college after about a year and a half, 2 years. I was a backup, nothing more. In college, I was a starter for a power Catholic school in high school. So, I had one of those kids where I played baseball growing up. I was a back catcher, had a big arm, converted it to football when my grandfather died because he had never missed a baseball game in my whole entire career. Picked up football, naturally self-taught. And then, I was one of those kids where, because I came from a power Catholic school, we would do the spaghetti dinners and all that kind of stuff where we'd break down film. Mm-hmm. And then when I got to college, there was a lot of guys from smaller schools who really didn't have those capabilities. And I became one of the guys where a lot of people came and we would sit around and we'd break down film together and stuff. So it's always been kind of a passion of mine. I got a Raekwon Davis film study that should be coming out this week too. So it's always just kind of been a passion of mine. Like last year, right? Me and Ball Game broke down every single snap Tua Tagovailoa had. So it's just kind of been a passion of mine. So I just kind of carried with it and just started off on TD Fins Talk and then said, hey, let's start my own. And here we are.
We got to get Ball Game his own channel.
He's got a plan with him and his sons because his sons, like his one of his sons manned up Michael Pittman Jr. And
really?
They played on pretty powerful California schools and high schools, and they played really well, man. But I think it was injuries, concussions, I want to say.
That always gets you. We appreciate it, Irving. Yeah, man. But definitely go check out Reason over at Finside the NFL. Hit that subscribe button because, like I said, he does some fantastic work. If you want really good film breakdown, because I don't do film breakdown as much because it takes a lot of work, and I do a lot of other things. I'm more predicated in the other aspects of this. So if you want really good film breakdowns, go over check out Reason. Where else can they find you before we get out of here?
You can find me on dolphinstalk.com. I have the Finish Line with Richmond Webb and Mr. Ballgame, which is on Spotify, iTunes, every major podcast outlet. I got a new podcast that'll be starting in August with Neil Driscoll. Nice. So we'll be announcing that pretty soon. And yeah, obviously, and then on as well on Finside the NFL.
Yeah, be sure to check them out. Check all that good stuff out. But yeah, other than that, guys, we'll check you out. We'll check you out in the next one. We'll make this more frequent because they like it.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. But other than that, guys, I'll catch you probably tomorrow in the next video. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.